This video is sponsored by my amazing website, CrochetGold.store. I have some great products crafted with care. Thank you for your continued support. Now, before we start, let me be clear. Everything that I'm sharing here today are my threaded thoughts and opinions based on what I've seen, experienced, and researched. If you see the same things or you see them differently, I respect that. Drop your perspective in the comments because that's how we grow together. Also, when I'm talking about specific people or situations, everything is alleged unless proven otherwise. Other than that, I'm just here to spark conversation, not to claim that I have all the answers or know these figures personally. Anywho, now that that is clear, let's get into the specific topic. Did y'all see that video of the McDonald's CEO trying that burger? Now, mind you, he did a Squidward bite and then it automatically cut to like him showing the part where he bit. So I am convinced that he spit that shit out because he definitely, once he started eating it, he didn't take the time to chew, swallow, and then start talking again. He chewed for a couple seconds, pushed it to the side of his mouth, and then there was an immediate jump cut, which is very odd, very strange. Now, mind you, he also was calling the burger throughout the whole video a product this, product that. And while we all know that when you're selling something, it's obviously a product, this is food. So if you're saying, what about the menu item, a product, food, like all of these like words that kind of skirt around calling it an actual food that is a substance that you can actually eat, which it seems like very much something that is, a legal jargon type of thing. Like, how if you look at packages like with juice, right? Instead of saying that it's actually juice, because most of the time it is not, it's very watered down. I'm testing you right now. If you have juice in your refrigerator, go and look at the ingredients while they're still there, because apparently they're trying to get rid of them. But go and look at the ingredients. The first thing that you see there is what? Water. So they're not actually able to call it juice. So what they have to call it is juice drink. And this is like a game that, it's definitely not funny, but it's what it is. This is definitely like a game though that the American, Food Drug Administration and, all of these big companies play, because they know that they can't call it what it's not, because they could, be liable for lawsuits and things like that just for lying and, misrepresenting a product and, telling you that it's something that is actually not. So they know that they, could be caught and sued for that. So they don't, just outright tell you that, oh, hey, this is a actual product. This is actual food. This is juice. This is, just what you think it is. They instead have to use all of this jargon, skirting around the issue. And the real problem here is, let's just think about McDonald's, right? Their famous slogan is over a billion served. If you think about the mass quantity of, how much they actually sell versus, what is actually here as far as the cows and things of that nature. Now, I'm not going to go as far as calling it Soylent Green, whatever, if you've ever seen that movie before. I'm not going to go as far as that, even though I have my own thoughts about that. Because from those files and the things that's being released, it is not above these people who think that they're elite, but they're actually not, to do things like that and use people in that way. I definitely don't believe that. And I also think it's a part of, getting your consent or, doing things to you to like make you, let's say guilty, right? So let's say someone else is guilty. They know that they're, about to rob a bank, right? And they tell you to give them a ride to the bank. So you, by doing that, is acting on a crime. You're doing a crime because you're their getaway driver, technically, is what they're going to tell you when you go to the courthouse. But you, the whole time, you were just thinking that you were giving them a stop. And then the next thing you know, they get in a car with their gun talking about drive. If y'all ever seen that movie, that little part of the movie. Or also, that's like a thing from Everybody Hates Chris too. If you've seen like that movie that I'm talking about, don't be a menace while drinking your juice in the hood, or Everybody Hates Chris. So what that is called, like, being an accomplice to a crime. So they'll the person who is, actually committing the crime, which is, mind you, an egregious thing. They know that they're wrong. They can kind of get away with not just the laws of, the world, because the FDA ain't doing shit, quite frankly. That's what's unfortunate about it. They're very much so bought and paid for. And you would think like, oh, well, yeah, they're bought and paid for, and we're the ones paying them with our tax dollars. The problem here is that if their money goes longer than yours and they can get them to, lobby, they call it a quote unquote lobby, which a lobby is for a goddamn building. Okay. It's not for you to be talking about, oh, they lobbied anything. No, it's called a bribe, a BRIBE, bribe. You got bribed. And so apparently the little ducats that we were giving them with all our tax money that they've been snatching every which way, that wasn't enough for them to just do their jobs. No, they wanted to get paid millions and millions of dollars from these corporations who want to find cutesy little ways to skirt around telling you what they actually have in the products. Also think about the, how I was just talking about, going and looking at your juice. It's also a pretty crazy thing that they do with the like products, where they will, kind of code things and be using different substances, maybe bugs, just maybe things that you would think in a product like that you're eating would gross you out. So them using these products, and then they'll say things like, oh, this is a, natural flavor, natural flavorings. Like, what the fuck what does that even mean? What does natural flavoring even mean in a thing? So the problem with that is that they can categorize a whole bunch of things that you see natural flavors on there. You're like, okay, I want something that's natural. They're using code words to not tell you what they're actually putting in stuff, which is very, very, very messed up. Like all of this, the whole system of food, especially in America. But, like he said, he tested that product out in different countries. So I don't want to hear other countries trying to give it to America about, our people being corrupt and being over us. It's happening over there too. So, not too much on us. But it's the same thing, because he actually said, they're testing this product out in, all these different places, just calling it a product, period. It's just very weird, and not calling it food, but, testing it out here and there and everywhere, and charging you what, $12? Did I see that right? Like, did I really see that right? They're charging you $12 for McDonald's. Now, McDonald's is not even the highest quality of fast food. It hasn't been since, hell, them two brothers went in there and did a goddamn hostile takeover. Oh no, that one guy went in there and did a hostile takeover on them two brothers. And it's kind of crazy that they try to make him like some sort of heroic figure in that movie too. I mean, I know you're gonna do what you're gonna do, but that's crazy as well. Like, it just shows you that Hollywood is a very needed part of the propaganda arm, because the things that you would think about, like, oh, this is morally wrong, this is bad, the fact that he went in there and snatched their business out from under them is a terrible thing. But if they can, put out a movie and got him there in a like hero pose stance, and just following him around and making him the main character and not the people who actually invented the thing, who had a great integrity about, the product that they were putting out and the people that they were serving it to, who, maybe had smaller dreams, but they obviously wanted to, put out great quote unquote products, which in that time and day, you could have almost guaranteed that what they were feeding you was at least what you thought they were feeding you. And today, hell, we can't even guarantee that much. So that's all I wanted to talk about. I definitely am the type of person who is getting more into definitely no meat. I haven't eaten a cow or a pig type of substances and I don't even know how long. And I encourage you to do the same, quite frankly, because when you start calling some crap products, it's not even, like I said, I won't even go full Soylent Green on you. I'll just say lab grown. Like, that's what it gives. It doesn't give even that they're saying, oh, we're feeding you other humans or whatever. It's just like, it's lab grown. It's a test of a product. And that's why it's so expensive, because I mean, it costs a lot of water and whatnot to, keep these lab grown things going. And it's very expensive. And like I said, it just looks so foreign the way the way he was handling the burger, the way he talked about the burger. It's like he's never even tried his product. And here's what's actually pretty crazy. We can kind of connect this to it. The reason why they had him do this whole thing in the first place, which mind you, still they got flamed, still everybody looked at them like they were crazy. Reason why, excuse me, that they even did this in the first place was because of like the Campbell soup scandal. So if you don't know, months ago, the Campbell Soup CEO came out and he was like talking crap about his product and saying like, yeah, it's like lab printed chicken. I don't even eat that. The people who eat that are broke and they are stupid, and just talking down about his own product. And I'm sure the sales took a real big dip. These are what these CEOs think about it. They don't use their own products. They don't consume their own products. They don't care about the people who actually do spend their hard-earned money to get these products. So why would we support them? So that wasn't just a Campbell chicken thing. That was a whole thing of everybody just waking up and thinking like, we need to support more local businesses. We need to support, local farmers. We need to support local because, these people who are way out of our reach, they live somewhere underground in Thailand where there's no extradition laws somewhere. These people, they don't actually care about what you are consuming. They don't care that you're using your last dollars to consume it. They don't care at all. So yeah, it's very much something that I just wanted to talk about, wanted to rant about, because I've always been passionate about it, but I'm very passionate about, people using people that are really funding their whole lives. Like, if not for the consumers who are, just trying to feed their kids in a, affordable way, if not for them, these people will have nothing. So that's why I like to call them the so-called elite, because the mask is truly slipping. It's falling off. Okay. It's just like Jim Carrey in that movie with the mask is definitely falling off, and we're not falling for it at all. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know what you think about this subject down below. And remember, keep creating and support local.